There's a reason some families stay wealthy for generations, while others win the lottery and go broke in 5 years. It's not luck, and it's not income. It's a quiet set of habits passed down by people who think about money completely differently than the rest of us. They call it old money. And the truth is, old money rarely looks rich. It looks calm. Today I'm walking you through 12 of these habits, and the last few will change how you see every dollar you have. Habit number 1. They spend like nobody's watching, meaning they don't perform wealth. New money buys the logo, old money buys the quality and hides the label. The wealthiest families often drive a 5-year-old car and wear clothes you'd never notice because they have nothing to prove. Here's the math underneath it. Every dollar spent signaling status is a dollar that can't compound. A $1,000 designer purse you buy to impress strangers, invested at 8% instead, becomes about $10,000 in 30 years. Old money figured out that looking rich and being rich are usually opposites, and they chose being rich. Habit number 2. They buy assets before luxuries. The rule is simple and ironclad. Your money must earn money before it's allowed to be spent on comfort. Old money buys the rental property, the dividend stock, the business stake first. Then, and only then, do the profits from those assets pay for the nice things. They never buy the boat with their salary. They buy assets, and one day the assets buy the boat. New money does it backward. Luxury first, investing later, and later never comes. Habit number 3. They think in decades, not paydays. Ask someone with old money about a decision, and they'll think about how it plays out over 20 years. Most people think about how it feels this weekend. This long time horizon is a secret weapon, because compounding only rewards patience. $10,000 invested at 8% is about $21,000 in 10 years, $47,000 in 20 years, and over $100,000 in 30. The magic is all in the back half. People who think in paydays sell early and miss it. People who think in decades simply wait, and the waiting makes them rich. Habit number 4. They automate everything and decide once. Wealthy families don't rely on willpower every month. They set up automatic transfers into investments the day money arrives, so saving happens before spending is even possible. By making the decision one time and removing it from daily temptation, they sidestep the single biggest reason people fail with money: relying on motivation. When your investing happens automatically while you sleep, your wealth genuinely does grow without you doing anything. That's the entire point of this video's title, and it's not a metaphor. Habit number 5. They live well below their means, on purpose, even when they don't have to. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only fuel for building wealth, and old money guards that gap fiercely. A family earning a high income but living like they earn a modest one saves enormous sums. It's not deprivation, it's that they decided long ago their lifestyle would stay flat even as their income climbed. Most people do the opposite. Every raise gets eaten by a bigger lifestyle, so they earn more and save nothing. The wealthy let income rise and lifestyle stay still, and the growing gap pours straight into assets. Habit number 6. They avoid debt for things that lose value. Old money will happily borrow to buy a business or a property that produces income, debt that works for them. But they almost never borrow for cars, gadgets, vacations, or anything that depreciates. They learned that paying interest on a depreciating thing is paying extra for the privilege of getting poorer. New money finances the lifestyle. Old money finances the assets and pays cash for the toys, or skips the toys entirely. Habit number 7. They treat their education as a lifelong investment. The wealthy read constantly, ask questions relentlessly, and surround themselves with people who know more than they do. They understand that the best return on any dollar is often the one spent learning a skill, a market, or a mistake to avoid. While most people stop learning the day they leave school, old money treats every book, mentor, and conversation as compounding knowledge. And knowledge, unlike a car, never depreciates. Habit number 8. They keep a cash reserve and never get forced into a bad decision. Wealthy families always hold a meaningful cushion of accessible cash. This isn't about fear, it's about power. When you have cash, you never have to sell an asset at the bottom, never have to take a bad deal out of desperation, and you can pounce on opportunities when everyone else is panicking. The 2008 and 2020 crashes minted fortunes for people who had cash ready to buy while others were forced to sell. Liquidity is quiet power, and old money never lets it run dry. Habit number 9. They make their money invisible to themselves. This is subtle but powerful. The wealthy structure their finances so the bulk of their money is out of sight and hard to touch, locked in long-term investments, retirement accounts, and assets that take effort to liquidate. By making wealth inconvenient to spend, they protect it from their own impulses. Money you can see and easily access is money you'll eventually spend. Money tucked away, compounding quietly, is money that survives to grow. Out of sight, out of reach, out of danger. Habit number 10. They value time over money and buy back their hours. Once their assets produce income, the wealthy stop trading time for dollars and start using money to free up time, outsourcing tasks they hate, automating chores, and protecting their hours for what actually grows their wealth and their life. They understand the ultimate goal of money was never more money. It was freedom, the ability to own your own days. Most people chase money forever and never convert it into the one thing it was supposed to buy: time. Habit number 11. They teach the next generation early and often. The reason wealth survives in some families and vanishes in others comes down to whether the kids understand money. Old money talks about saving, investing, and the value of a dollar at the dinner table for years. They pass down habits, not just inheritances, because they've seen that money without the habits disappears, and habits without the money rebuild it. An inheritance handed to someone who never learned these principles is gone within a generation. The teaching is what lasts. Habit number 12, and this is the one that ties it all together. They stay calm when everyone else panics. The single trait that separates lasting wealth from temporary wealth is emotional control. When markets crash, the wealthy hold or buy. When there's a hot new trend everyone's piling into, they're skeptical and slow. They make decisions from patience, not fear or greed, the two emotions that destroy more wealth than any recession ever could. The market transfers money from the impatient to the patient, from the emotional to the calm. Old money simply decided, long ago, to be the calm ones. Now step back and look at what all 12 of these habits have in common, because that's the real lesson. Not one of them requires a high income. Not one of them is a secret investment or a clever tax trick. Every single one is about behavior, patience, restraint, automation, calm, and a long time horizon. That's the quiet truth old money understands, and the rest of the world misses. Wealth is built far more by how you behave than by how much you earn. A modest income with these habits beats a huge income without them, every time. We all know the high earner who's broke and the modest earner who's quietly worth a fortune. The difference was never the paycheck, it was the habits. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be born into an old money family to adopt any of this. You can automate your investing this week. You can let your lifestyle stay flat the next time you get a raise. You can stop financing things that lose value. You can move your money out of sight and let it compound. Every one of these habits is available to you, starting today, regardless of where you came from or what you earn right now. Old money isn't a bloodline, it's a behavior set, and behavior can be chosen. So pick just one of these to start with. Not all 12 at once. That's how people burn out and quit. Choose the one that hit hardest, the one you know you're getting wrong, and fix that single habit this month. Then add another. That's exactly how these families did it, one quiet habit at a time, compounding silently for years, until one day they looked up and realized they'd built something that would outlast them. Let me put real numbers on why these quiet habits beat a big paycheck, because the math is genuinely startling. Take two people. The first earns $200,000 a year, but spends $195,000 of it chasing the appearance of wealth. The leased luxury car, the oversized house, the constant upgrades. They save $5,000 a year. The second earns $70,000 and lives on $50,000 a year with old money discipline. After 25 years at an 8% return, the high earner who spent everything has roughly $365,000. The modest earner who saved has roughly $1.46 million, 4 times as much, on barely a third of the income. The difference wasn't the paycheck. It was the gap between earning and spending, guarded and invested. This is why you meet six-figure earners who are broke and school teachers who quietly retire millionaires. Old money understood this 2 centuries before the spreadsheets proved it. Here's a habit hiding inside the others that deserves its own spotlight. Old money treats every spending decision as a fork between consuming and owning. When they want income, they don't just earn more and spend it, they buy an asset that produces income, then let that income buy the lifestyle. A new money person who wants a nicer life works more hours. An old money person who wants a nicer life buys a dividend stock, a rental, or a business stake, and lets the cash flow from that asset cover the upgrade. The lifestyle gets funded by assets, not by labor, which means it doesn't cost them their time or their freedom. Every dollar gets one job before it's allowed to rest. Go become more dollars. Only the overflow gets spent. That single ordering, assets first, luxuries from the overflow, is the quiet engine under multi-generational wealth. There's also a psychological habit underneath all 12 that's worth naming directly. Old money is genuinely immune to the opinions of strangers. The entire consumer economy runs on getting you to spend money you don't have, to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't know. Old money simply opted out of that game. They feel no need to signal status, which means an enormous category of spending. The category that drains most people barely exists for them. They drive the old car not because they can't afford a new one, but because they genuinely don't care what the parking lot thinks. That freedom from comparison is worth more than any investment strategy, because comparison-driven spending is the single largest leak in most people's finances. Plug it, and you've found the money to fund every other habit on this list. And here's the compounding insight that ties the whole philosophy together. These habits don't just add up, they multiply each other. Living below your means creates the surplus. Automating sends that surplus into assets before you can touch it. Buying assets before luxuries means the surplus grows instead of getting spent. Thinking in decades means you leave it alone long enough to compound. Staying calm means you don't sell it in a panic. Teaching the next generation means it survives past you. Each habit makes the others more powerful, which is why families who practice all of them together pull so far ahead. It's not 12 separate tricks, it's one integrated way of relating to money, where patience, restraint, and ownership reinforce each other year after year until the result looks like luck from the outside. It was never luck, it was a system, quietly running for decades. And here's the most encouraging part. The thing that should make you feel this is genuinely within reach. Old money is not a bloodline, it's a behavior set, and behavior can be chosen starting today. You don't need a trust fund or a famous last name to live any of these 12 habits. You can automate your investing this week. You can let your lifestyle stay flat the next time you get a raise. You can stop financing things that lose value. You can move your money out of sight where you can't impulsively spend it. You can decide, right now, to stay calm in the next market panic instead of selling. Every single one of these is a choice available to a person earning a completely ordinary income. And that's exactly why we meet so many quiet millionaires who started with nothing, and so many broke people who started with everything. The families who stay wealthy for generations aren't protecting a secret, they're protecting a set of habits, passing down behavior rather than just money, because they've watched what happens when money arrives without the habits. It's gone within a generation. The habits are the real inheritance. And the beautiful thing is that you can give that inheritance to yourself, no matter where you started, simply by choosing to live one of these quietly today, and then another, until they run on their own. So out of all 12, which habit are you missing the most right now? Be honest with me in the comments. Naming it out loud is the first step to fixing it. If this gave you a new way to think about quiet, lasting wealth, give it a like so it reaches someone who's tired of looking rich and ready to actually be rich. And subscribe, because next time I'm breaking down the things people who are never broke always do before the month ends.